Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. Palantir was everywhere this week, from interviews, deals, and articles, with a bunch I didn't even get to cover in my daily videos yet, like new information on their work out in Japan with Sompo, and the huge news coverage of their mixed reality products, so just listen up. So looking at the stock first though really quick, we closed out Friday at 1635, down over 6% for the week. Now for some folks, it might even feel like a lot more down because we hit even into the $18 on Monday. But having since then retraced back down to the low 16s, I won't be surprised with this volatility honestly leading to earnings as we see the reactions to maybe other companies releasing their earnings and the whole macro environment. So in addition to this, amongst the new short interest data we got too, the short interest data for Palantir is going slightly up, but still around that mid 5% of shares sold short, so nothing major here. Now, news-wise, Monday was a big day with Palantir flying out of the gate amongst the release of a Wall Street Journal article focused on the slowdown of their United States government business. I have a whole dedicated video there going through the complete article, and I've linked the article there without any paywalls if you're interested. But essentially, the article references very bearish analysts as well as picking and choosing quotes and situations regarding the Department of Defense trying to prevent vendor lock-in. There were even some attempts too at trying to paint them as unsatisfied with Palantir, but someone following the company closely as myself and you guys too watching the channel knows better in the details. Some speculate it's a hit piece for others just to tank the price there, but who really knows? All you can do as an individual investor though is just know your stuff. And in addition, there were several interviews throughout the week. One I highlighted was a Jefferies analyst first, Brent Thill, who has a $13 price target with a sell rating that came out earlier this month. CNBC basically asked him straight up what his thoughts are because it was up 9% for the day when they interviewed him. But essentially he said Palantir has had good momentum, but immediately changed the subject there to saying that he likes other names like Microsoft and Salesforce as specific ones. So do as you want with his information, but just kind of funny moment for me where it kind of looked like he was squirming or a little bit nervous there trying to figure out what to say. And then Joe Lonsdale did an interview too, really talking about the direction of AI and it will change the economy in the future. And I share the same sentiment here. Then they focus a bit on the defense end, of course, bringing up Palantir and Carp. And yeah, no surprises here, where he thinks there will be a few winners in the future that will dominate AI, although he falls short of saying specifically thinking Palantir will be one of them. But regardless, on the defense end, he reinforces the importance of software and having the best-in-class technology will be the determinant of the battlefield success. And we know this aligns with Palantir's mission too. And then another big interview on WELT Documentaries channel with Axel Springer, CEO, as well as Alex Karp. And for some of you guys in the comments, the star of the show was the host, just pointing that out. But either way, we've got a 40-minute interview there, a very political conversation about the hot subjects with speech, protests when it comes to anti-Semitism, and then some enlightening points here, especially with the cultural differences between the United States and Germany. Then they even bring up how the elites of each country are different and behave so. But a lot of it was focused on the Middle East and Israel and Hamas, as well as anti-Semitism and free speech. And naturally, it talks about artificial intelligence in regards to the usage in the military and the government and how this leads to an arms race. So it's still on message for Alex Karp here, nothing really deviated and no 180s from him. So check it out on WELT Documentaries channel. And then Shyam Sankar did a speaking event for the Hudson Institute with the panel consisting alongside him a retired major from the Air Force, Anduril, as well as Helicon. They focused on innovation for the military from both sides, aka the buyer or the DoD, but also how these companies, including Palantir, envision the business of government contracting just to ensure that technology is implemented efficiently and cost effectively while producing the desired maximized outcomes for the military. Now check out the whole video there on Hudson Institute's YouTube channel for the full almost 50-minute chat there. Then we got Hirsch Jain, the head of public health at Palantir, who spoke at the Reagan Institute's panel Beyond the SCIF, so biosecurity and the weaponization of artificial intelligence, really speaking about the background of Palantir's work on the healthcare side, but more on that government work there, really starting out with the pandemic response and also his vision for how we can have a better, cohesive national way of managing another black swan event like that if it were to occur, and even being preemptive about it here. So it's great for Palantir to be a part of the conversations at the highest levels of government where you're really dealing with a health crisis at a public health level. And then we've got a podcast release on Digit Void with their guest Katie Natopoulos. Everyone will have their own opinions on this, but she's actually the author from the piece that came out last October. And it's regarding the coverage of the meme-like following that Palantir has garnered. Now, they do acknowledge they're bucketing them in the same infamous GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond as meme stocks, like they truly are, whereas Palantir, it's kind of contradictory because they kind of have dog shit financials, whereas Palantir is arguably pristine, at least on the balance sheet. Now, financial health-wise, that's of course really straightforward, but everyone has their own valuation valuation perspective. So of course you can make that argument. But they still talk about different subjects like the community, kind of like Tesla. But with that Palantir being smaller, it's a little bit different here. And they know about the daily videos, the live streams, the X threads, and even Discords that exist that bring that Palantir information together. So they acknowledge that these exist. Now, the problematic aspects are when you're grouping such a wide range of people in the community, from literal analysts trying to evaluate the company and as accurate as possible to the blindly buying, not doing their own due diligence kind of aspect. You're going to have everyone in that bucket. So I think the community as a whole is closer to the first description, but outsiders can think otherwise. It doesn't really matter to me, but they do acknowledge to a big difference with Palantir is that the concentration on making more information about the company available, which I appreciate honestly from management, but some see it not as good. But in the end, I say let them think what they want, and in the end, with the risk being so close to a company, but I'd say just do your own due diligence, and it's your money, just do what you want. Then we also got so many articles, including those I haven't even covered in my Palantir daily videos. So first one shared by Palantir, written by Pfizer CEO, and they attended the Hostage and Family of Hostage event that took place at Palantir's pavilion at Davos. Long story short, the CEO was moved, and even if Palantir isn't mentioned by name, outspoken company in support of Israel and vehemently against Hamas so strongly. Then we've got two new blog posts also from the Palantir folks. First, ontology-oriented software development, and then user-centered machine learning. Both of the articles have enough warrant here to individual videos, so I'll find time to go in depth with each of these, but know that both of them are available on the blogs for the website for all to see. And then we got a huge article coming out covering how much amazing results they have with the Army, and they've seen this with their equipment inventory when running it on Palantir. I made a whole video right when I found out because, to me at least, the results were just that fantastic, so check it out for the details. But essentially, Palantir is supercharging the Army in tracking, maintaining, and ensuring the right equipment is needed exactly where and when it's needed and to be used or maintained, and they're going to save hundreds of thousands of man hours, reducing 2-hour waits to 15 minutes, to even moving their maintenance model from an every 6 months kind of example to an as-needed basis, because they get that precisely in what truly has to be fixed up or not. So exciting to see what a detailed result they can give out, and hope more come out over time. And then a new Palantir partnership officially announced by the National Science Foundation. This is the result of an executive order from the Biden administration, and this is officially the start of the pilot for essentially setting up the AI research infrastructure for the company. Now, they mentioned a ton of federal agencies, which are already Palantir customers, but also alongside tons of AI industry-leading partners, which a lot are familiar as well. So it's great for Palantir to be chosen as a partner in this and maybe have some influence in how the AI collaboration, as well as security and research, goes along. And the big win is honestly just having a seat at the table, and we'll see if this program ends up scaling over time and how this will help AI efforts in the United States. And then we got Palantir goes all in for the public sector in Canada. They expanded their partnership with Caresoft, whom they started a partnership trial back in September 2023, but have recently just made them the sole provider for SLSA agreements with the Canadian government. So basically, they don't have to worry about competitors selling Palantir products in that space. Now, we don't know the full scale yet of this partnership, but it seems that the confidence is there considering they took this next step. So it'll be exciting to see the results come out of this over time. And then on Germany's side here, more headaches, honestly. On the policing side, it continues to trouble Palantir with a shutdown ordered by one of their longer-running state customers out there in Bavaria. The data protection officer essentially said there's no legal basis for the testing of real people's data, regardless if it's only for testing purposes, and no actual police operations are being utilized. Now, the Bavarian Ministry of the Interior pushed back against this and stated, well, they have legal standing on some legislation, and reiterate that they're still doing tests with no actual operations originating from this data and testing. But regardless, it's noted that the data protection officer can only point out this claim and complain about it, but technically cannot shut down the operation. So we'll see what Bavaria ends up doing with this added political pressure on using Palantir software. And then out in Japan here, for the 2024 Noto earthquake that happened on New Year's Day actually struck. I didn't know about this. Japan is trying to utilize technology to improve the efficiency of support of the disaster zone. So on the recovery side of things, Palantir alongside Sompo was put in charge of developing the system here to increase the efficiency of material support. So the cool thing they note is that there's a quickness to value that they felt, as well as the ability to implement the entire project within just a few days, right when they made the request. So similar to the earthquake in Turkey, Palantir just comes to their aid pretty quickly from those links that Ether Square actually found. So it's good to see that their work with Sompo continuing, and this is outside of the typical use cases we've seen already from Sompo on their insurance business as well as the healthcare business segments. Then the most exciting news I think that flooded on Friday is the mixed reality stuff all coming out all at the same time. And I'll make a specific video here covering this in a lot more detail soon. But first, we've got the white paper with a nice little visual on the layer that the mixed reality reality platform as a service lies on in conjunction alongside all these other platforms that they manage like Foundry, Vantage, Maven, AIP, and everything else. But we also get these quick 5 bullet points here where you can actually go deep dive into each of them. But essentially, this is a nice sheet to teach anyone about the mixed reality platform and the value it brings, as well as how and why it works. And then Palantir also tweeted out this article back from December 6, 2023. But what everyone saw here was the video where the headset that says Palantir on the guy using it, as well as IC2 for their immersive command and control product. So this continued excitement not only is about Palantir's current products, but how they're innovating and continuing to build new products that fit into the needs of their customers, especially the major ones like the Army. So action-packed news week, let me know you made it to the end of the video just by commenting really quick. The hot potato has landed. Might as well confuse people who skipped to the last part here or missed it, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.